I'm back. Hey guys, it's me, David. Yours truly, Mr. Davindraraj Gandhi Rajan from Malaysia. So today I'd like to talk about. Let's pick something common. Let's talk about culture. So I had to give a speech on culture about 2 weeks ago in my class. It's my persuasive speech class, and I was debating on actually what to talk about for a long time. I wanted to do something on, world politics, things pertaining to my major that I can actually speak about. But I figured I should take it down, make it more light, because my audience was, they're all not political science majors, and I figured it'd probably bore them to death. And so I picked something that I could relate to, something that I grew up with, something that I found very rich in my country, that is culture. It's funny though, because I think as human beings we never appreciate things when they are presented to us, or we seldom do. And so like I always took it for granted, all the festivals that I did, all the family get-togethers, and I think the only reason I do that is because I'm like, it's gonna be there every year. It's all the chores of like washing your hair in oil and putting gross black stuff all over your body, and I don't know, just never really bought into it. But then after leaving the country and coming to a place where it seems very lacking, or everything just seems very superficial, like everything is surrounded around shopping, around gifts. It's very materialistic. America is definitely a very materialistic society, and I feel that people tend to associate festivals with gifts, and to me that's not really true, because we do exchange gifts in Malaysia, but I mean, come on, think about it. It's more the customs and the traditions of doing things over generations, and doing things with your family, and doing things that are spiritual, and doing things that are relating to your religion. That's culture to me. That so I started off my speech talking about Thanksgiving. By the way, Thanksgiving is a holiday celebrated here. It's actually next week, and so I was talking about Thanksgiving, and I started off my speech saying, so here I am, right, an international student, about 15,432 miles away from home, and I'm sitting here one day, and this guy comes up to me. Let's give the guy the name Andrew. So Andrew comes up to me, right, and he was like, David, what do you guys do for Thanksgiving back home? And that was my expression. See, the thing is, I've never heard of Thanksgiving before in my life. Well, I have, on the television, but, it's just kind of strange. So Andrew goes on and starts explaining what Thanksgiving is about, and he talks about turkey, about stuffing the turkey with stuffings, which I still think today, after 3 years, it's still really weird. But he talks about turkey, and about how family come together and eat and eat and eat, and it's all about all the kinds of different puddings you can get, all the different kinds of pies you can get. There's apple pie, pumpkin pie, this pie, that pie, all kinds of pies, just name it. So he starts talking about all that, and I'm like, no, I don't think we have anything like that back home in Malaysia. And so I went back home, and I actually really thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, actually we do have Thanksgiving, except my Thanksgiving involves needles, and hooks piercing through people's backs. When I think of Thanksgiving, I imagine people going on fasts. I imagine people walking miles and miles up, hundreds of steps up to a cave, and actually going to God to fulfill their vows and giving their thanks to God for a promise fulfilled. When I think of Thanksgiving, I think of Thaipusam. See, the picture that I painted in the minds of my friends was just really bizarre, because when they think of hooks piercing through your back, and you're actually pulling a carriage of Lord Muruga, correct? Yes, of Lord Muruga. No, it's not Muruga. Shoot, what lord is it? Yeah, Lord Muruga, I think. Yeah. So when I paint this picture in their mind, they're all just really baffled. Like all their faces went from like a smile, because I was talking about Thanksgiving. They are like to that look of horror, because when you think of hooks piercing through your back, you think of blood. The weird thing is, there is no blood. Did you guys know that? Yeah. I think it's the whole process of just being very spiritual and very I can't even think of the word, but just being the whole process of fasting, taking vegetarian and stuff like that, just their mindset that they don't bleed, which is really weird and bizarre. But yeah, so I started my speech that way. I talked about how this is really important for people here to understand the importance of culture, because we all be going out into the working world soon, and you all be interacting with people not only within your company, but think global. With globalization, everybody in the world, you're basically connected through them, and you'll probably be doing businesses with them. So I just set up the tone of the speech, brought it down to the relevance of why it's important that they listen to my speech, and then I went on to talk about things that they can do to improve or to educate themselves about different cultures around the world. And it was very, I want to say that I did well in my speech. Yeah, people were genuinely interested in what I had to say. And I talked about how the media plays a role in this, with television shows like even Aladdin. You think of Aladdin, you'll be like, oh, Aladdin's a kids show. It's fun to watch. But have you guys ever heard of the lyrics to the beginning part of Aladdin? Talks about Arabian Nights. Arabian Night. They kill and they fight, they rob and they. It's basically painting Arabs, or Arabs as we say it, as people who rob, as people who kill, as people who steal from the poor and stuff like that. So these things, although very subtle, is indoctrinated in the minds of young children around America and around the world. So the first thing that comes to people's mind when they see an Arab man is a beggar, a murderer, a robber, a killer, somebody who does the bad things. And so the media has such a crucial part in influencing the minds of people that we undermine its strength. If only the media, was not manipulated, but just used to for the good things, I think a lot of times we'll all be better off, without biases, without stereotypes. Let's take 9/11 for example. I think terrorism and the Middle East being associated with terrorism, being a Muslim, being from an Islamic country can even make you seem like a terrorist, because first thing that comes to people's mind most of the time is, if you're if you're a Muslim, ooh, you're gonna bomb the United States. So yeah, I don't know, my speech was I want to say pretty good, and I ended the speech with my quote, I guess, that I came up with. So I went back to the introduction to tie it all together, and so I ended. So here I am today, right? 15,432 miles away from home. I'm dressed as you are. I speak the language you speak. I eat your McDonald's. Question is, when will you start exploring mine? And I ended it. Well, it was something like that. I talked about how I'm immersing myself in their culture, and I ended it with a, when will you start exploring mine? Because if things are foreign to people, they are bound to be afraid of it. If things are unknown to people, if they don't know anything about it, first reaction, of course you don't want to try things that you don't know. Of course you don't want to get involved with things that you don't know. But once you educate yourself about that foreignness or that international culture, you find yourself being a more accepting, tolerant person. So basically, the point of my video here is to let you guys know that you should appreciate your culture, no matter where you're from, no matter what religion, whatever culture you practice. Just appreciate it, and know that somewhere, somehow, it will be important to you, and it will affect your future. And if you're not culturally rich or culturally sensitive, I'm sorry to say, your future will not be good. So think about that, people. Alright, with all my 9 minutes of speech, I am going to end it right now. Have a good day. Bye.